Hello and welcome to the Talk Villa podcast. I'm your host, Samit Paul, and Aston Villa are Europa League winners. Just a magnificent performance in Istanbul on Wednesday night as Villa saw off Freiburg in a 3-0 win to lift the trophy. Now, two absolutely sensational goals, first from Youri Tielemans and then Emiliano Buendia, set us on our way just before half-time. And it was Morgan Rogers who then added a third in the second half to seal it as Villa were dominant and we were clearly had no intention of letting this opportunity slip by us. Now, as with every game, I'll be discussing my 5 key talking points as we have a deeper dive into our win over Freiburg. But first, as always, let's have a listen to the boss himself, Unai Emery, and his thoughts on the game as he spoke to Villa TV.
Thankful owners, thankful Aston Villa club, every workers, thankful you, and thank you especially the supporters. They were traveling with us all the season, away in Europe, 3,000, 4,000, in all the countries we were playing they were, and of course especially and something very important in Villa Park, how we were creating a great atmosphere, energy, positive energy. And today here we were feeling we were in Villa Park, and the supporters, of course, they deserved it. After 1982, the Cup Europe, again we were playing the final today, and of course we were ready to compete, respecting the opponent, respecting the Europe. And we have won because we did a very serious competition during the process, and today especially against Freiburg, and of course for our supporters. The season is up and down, and we were starting trying to get all our best in all the competition. But especially we prioritize Premier League and we prioritize Europa League. And of course in both competitions we were really strong, and we were feeling it. And we were as well feeling our supporters, they wanted as well to follow us. And then, when we were sometimes down, we reacted fantastic. The players reacted. Of course, we were trying to find solutions, trying to always to push the players and didn't give up in the moment we were not so good. And this is the reaction. Now, of course, how we finish the season is one very good summary about all the season.
That was Unai Emery speaking to Villa TV after our 3-0 win over Freiburg in the Europa League Final. So onto my 5 key talking points then, and let's start with what I mentioned there and how a dominant Villa ended our trophy drought with an emphatic performance. Now, I felt as though that was a performance worthy of winning any final. It took us a little bit of time to start imposing ourselves, to settle and really dictate. We had a couple of early chances with Morgan Rogers, but as the first half went on, I thought we started to settle a bit more, control tempo and possession a little bit better. Freiburg had a lot of the ball in the early stages, but the quick-fire double just before the interval essentially signalled that this was only going to end in one way. Emiliano Martinez brushed aside a broken finger to lead a solid defensive display from our back line. I thought the back four showed composure and class in both phases of the game. I thought they defended resolutely. I thought Pau and Konsa were just very, very composed and calm on the ball to help us play out from the back. Our midfield maestro, Tielemans, orchestrated and then produced a sublime finish to set us on our way with the first goal. And Victor Lindelof put in another stellar shift in midfield. And he has been absolutely brilliant over the last few weeks since he came into the starting lineup. Time will tell if that's still an area of the squad that we look to address in the summer, but there's almost a case, the way that he played and the level that he played with so consistently over the last month or so in that deeper midfield position, it's perhaps even just saved us a task this summer of having to sort of strengthen that area of the squad. We'll have Kamara back from injury, and Nana will hopefully become a more consistent presence and can put his injury problems behind him as well. But if we need him, Lindelof is there and he's done an absolutely brilliant job in this game as well. John McGinn continues to be the heartbeat of this team. Both Rogers and Buendia delivered, and our talismanic workhorse up top, Ollie Watkins, undoubtedly played a key role in all of this too, with his movement, his hold-up play, his ability to link things up, and I thought he had played a really important part in this game as well. Every player who has contributed to this journey deserves praise, whether it was a goal here or there in the group stage, an appearance off the bench, just anybody who has contributed to this deserves their shout out and their flowers. But this particular performance was just a brilliant display from Villa to emphatically end our 30-year trophy drought. On to the second point, and that is Emiliano Buendia completes a remarkable turnaround now. What a journey, what a turnaround, and what a legend. After suffering that devastating knee injury on the eve of the 2023-24 season, a lot of people looked at Buendia's Villa career very differently, and many doubted if he would even play for us again. He had to fight to recover from that injury. It was a grueling rehabilitation process from all the updates he shared on social media. He had a battle on his hands to get back into the squad, never mind the team. And then he, of course, went and spent time on loan at Bayer Leverkusen as well. So, understandably, there were those doubts over whether or not he had a role to play for us moving forward. But Buendia didn't have any doubts. He has worked tirelessly to get back to this level and to carve out a role under Unai Emery again. I think it was Emery who said in previous press conferences quite some time ago now that they were open to Buendia leaving the club, but it was Buendia who pushed to stay. He wanted to continue at Villa. He had unfinished business with us, and that has proven to be a really important decision and a push from his side. I've been absolutely desperate to see it come good for him after all the highs and lows he's had since he joined us from Norwich. He has been one of my favourite players since that point. And he has now delivered on the biggest of stages with the most memorable of moments, because that goal, incredible. Just an unreal finish and just a mental moment after the Tielemans goal as well, just to put us in such a commanding position before half-time. Just brilliant all round. On to the third point, and that is John McGinn leads Villa to an historic moment. Now, it's hard to pick out the favourite images from the scenes of celebrations on the pitch after the full-time whistle because there were just so many. There was one that did stand out to me, and that was John McGinn and Tyrone Mings lifting the Europa League trophy together in front of the Villa fans, and that particular moment didn't need any words whatsoever. As I've mentioned, every player, every staff member, the ownership, everyone concerned and connected to this deserves praise for their respective contributions to the progression and the success that we've seen over the last 3 years, but also beyond that as well. But some have been through more, and they've brought us back from deeper depths. Now, as the heartbeat of this team for so long, and what he means to the club and the connection with the supporters, seeing McGinn lift that trophy was just beautiful, and it's now cemented his place among the club's legends. If he already wasn't anyway, lifting the trophy as captain, undoubtedly going to do it for you. So just delighted for McGinn to have that moment, for Mings to have that moment, but also just the whole squad, the staff, ownership were on the pitch as well. Just incredible scenes. On to the fourth point, and that is Unai Emery delivers on his objectives. Now, speaking at his introductory press conference in 2022, Emery revealed two of his biggest hopes for his tenure as Villa boss. He had a dream to take us into Europe, and he had a dream that he would deliver trophies. Now, Unai, you absolute legend. You've well and truly ticked both of those boxes. For all the progress, for all the memorable wins and nights we've had, particularly at Villa Park, dragging the club in the direction needed to compete at the top level and to stay there consistently for 3 years in a row. The Emery era, it felt to me at least anyway, needed that defining moment just to push it over the top, and that comes with winning silverware. It's a tangible thing to say that this is one of the most memorable periods as a Villa fan. And it wasn't just these incredible nights, these incredible wins that we had. We actually won something at the end of it. And I think that's massive. That's such a big difference to look back at the Emery era when it's all said and done. This was such a crucial triumph for me in that sense. As I say, just adding that tangible success and writing an incredible new chapter in the club's history. So here's to you, Unai Emery. On to the fifth and final point, and it is that now we build. With the celebrations are going to continue for some time, and rightly so. But Emery's comments in his post-match press conference already hinted where his mindset's at. The club are obviously going to work tirelessly now to make us increasingly competitive off the pitch by improving our financial strength and stability. I think the injection of the new commercial deals and everything that comes with the success of winning the Europa League, but also featuring in the Champions League again next season, that is absolutely going to help to keep building the brand and spark more growth financially off the pitch for the club. Villa Park's capacity will obviously increase as well next season. That is in itself is a major step in the right direction. Add potentially 10,000 plus more seats, and that shouldn't be underestimated how much of a difference that can make. And simultaneously, though, it's hoped that we're able to keep setting the standards on the pitch with our footballing successes, because that's where the standard setting is coming from, in my opinion. You see what Emery's doing, and it's almost like the commercial side, the football operations side of the club have to play catch up and deal at the same level as what Emery and the players are producing. So if we can continue that, then we're going to be in a really, really strong position moving forward. Ultimately, though, we do need to keep strengthening the squad, but with Emery at the helm, a core of top-class players getting over that hump now and winning a trophy, hopefully with the boosted financial resources that we can benefit from, that will help us to continue to compete domestically and in Europe. And potentially, you can never guarantee anything, but potentially this is just the start for us in terms of what we can do if we keep building in the right way on and off the pitch. Now, there's already been speculation today over our potential transfer business this summer. There's talk of at least 4 players coming in. Speculation over whether or not we're going to refresh and just reshuffle the pack a little bit with potential veterans or just some of the older members of this current squad moving on and freshening it up and bringing the average age down. There'll be some players that may want to move on as it's sort of the end of a cycle for them, whether they've recently joined or they're longer term stalwarts of the club. Sancho, is he going to stay? I don't think so. Douglas Luiz, is he going to stay? For me, I don't think so either. So there's going to be big decisions to make again this summer. But, as long as Emery can get the backing that he's had throughout this tenure so far, hopefully we can continue to build the squad in the right way, give him what he needs to continue to build on this success and just to continue progressing and moving in the right direction, learning, I wouldn't even say mistakes, but learning from the difficulties and the setbacks and the adversity that we faced this season. We started the season in a really, really bad shape, and some of the reports coming out this past week have sort of told the inside story of that a little bit more, and just how negative things actually sounded within the camp for the first time probably since Emery took charge. So if we can learn from all that and keep building the squad and improving, then hopefully this is, like I say, just the beginning, the first piece of many more successes moving forward. So from the Championship to Europa League winners, 44 years since our last triumph in Europe, 30 years since our last piece of silverware. There's just endless branches to what is a remarkable Villa story. And the most prominent right now, though, is that Villa are Europa League winners in 2026. So what were your talking points from our win over Freiburg, and how big a moment is this for us in terms of the continuation of the process of building under Emery and becoming a consistent contender for trophies? Let me know your thoughts. If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave your comments below. For those listening to the pod via Apple Podcasts, Spotify or other means, head over to talkvilla.substack.com and get involved in the conversation over there. So that's a wrap on this episode of the Talk Villa podcast. A big, big thank you, as always, for taking the time to have a listen. Please do subscribe to the pod or channel depending on where you're listening. So as I say, that's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Give the episode a like or leave a positive review if you've enjoyed it. All your interactions help me to grow the channel, so it's always appreciated when I see new subscribers come on board and the videos and podcasts getting likes and positive reviews. So please do leave one if you do have time. Sign up to the Talk Villa Plus newsletter on Substack for ad-free Villa news, opinions and analysis, all of which will be delivered directly to your email inbox. And there is also an option of a paid subscription for bonus content. All the details will be in the description of this podcast, but for more, please go to talkvilla.substack.com and subscribe. So what a way to wrap up the season. We do, of course, have one more game to go, but ultimately we have now achieved what we set out to do this season. Champions League berth confirmed, trophy secured, and I'm sure the travelling Villa supporters are going to enjoy Sunday at Manchester City with the pressure off and the celebrations no doubt continuing from Istanbul. As I said last week, it has been a crazy season. Highs and lows. This seemed a long way off when you cast your minds back to the start of the season, where we couldn't even score, never mind win a game of football. We had an amazing run in the middle, but then struggled again in recent months. But for all the setbacks, all the disappointments, the injury woes, Emery, the players, everyone connected produced when it was most needed over the past fortnight or so. And hopefully we can keep building from here. I'll be back on Sunday with my thoughts on the Man City game and the season overall. There'll be plenty more content throughout the summer as well. So please do, like I say, subscribe and continue to help me grow the channel. But for now, enjoy this win. Enjoy the trophy, my fellow villains. And as always, up the Villa.